You're listening to Major Motion Problems, a podcast that explores the best and worst movies of all time to find out if they deserve their Oscar glory or Razzie infamy. I'm James.
And I'm Kris. Every episode, we pick a year at random and watch the Academy Award winner for Best Picture, along with that year's Golden Raspberry loser for Worst Picture.
And for our 10th episode, Kris and I are going to reflect on our cinematic journey and each rank the 18 movies we've watched so far from favorite to least favorite.
We will discuss, debate, and determine if James was right in honoring or dishonoring these films.
Oh, just me? Yeah, okay. I expect to have a few things to say about your list as well. So, Kris, how was this exercise for you? Were there any tough calls or surprises?
Nope, no change. Absolutely no change. No change, no surprise, just a lot of embarrassment on how high I ranked some of these movies. That's it.
You entered this podcast the exact same way that you're leaving this podcast so far. Really? There's been no look in the mirror moment and say, why do I like the things that I like?
No, I did look in the mirror and I went, wow, what I see in the mirror is great and I don't want to change anything. I want to keep looking in this great mirror. In fact, is there a way to just get a still frame of this mirror and just put it on the wall so I can look at that? That was my experience.
If only we could all have this confidence in our taste.
I know. I've liked the same movies and the same music since I was 12, so it makes sense.
I guess we have many, many more movies to watch to maybe make you change, or maybe not. Maybe that's a beautiful thing. Maybe it's a beautiful thing to know exactly who you are and what you like. In fact, I am going to say that is a beautiful thing. Let's find out how beautiful that thing actually is.
American Beautiful.
Mm-hmm. All right. Spoiler. Okay. Our race to the bottom begins. And just for listeners at home, the assignment was rank all the movies we've watched from favorite to least favorite. So number 1 will be our favorite movie, each our favorite movie that we've watched so far, and then number 18 will be the one that we liked the least. So I think I half approached this assignment as I enjoyed watching this and therefore it is a favorite movie, but also I was ranking them against themselves in terms of filmmaking as well. And I think I will have my own bouts of controversial choices as well, just to say it. Do you want to give any caveats to your list as well, or were you pretty clear in exactly how you feel about these movies?
Well, I guess one big footnote on all my movies is that I realize my brain is broken. I understand that I'm trying to be funny a little bit, but not really, because this is my genuine taste.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I know I'm going to get a lot of, I don't know. It is a weird, look, this is a weird batch of movies to begin with.
Yes.
To have Catwoman and Out of Africa on the same list is, this whole thing is just giving me so much whiplash of just every week talking about Rambo and then Braveheart. It's what is this? I've had so much fun, but it's usually movie podcasts are but what about the French New Wave? And this is just nope, everything, everywhere, all at once. Both in content and literally the movie everywhere, everything, all at once. It is just I guess the big footnote on all my choices are this batch of movies is weird and also my brain is broken. So there you go.
I think that is a good point to make. This is a weird batch of movies, and they are selected at random. So it's not even like we're starting at the beginning of the Razzies and Oscar lists and working our way to the present or working our way backwards. We're picking them at random, so there's no reason for these movies to even be ranked against each other than that's just where we landed with this. So, all right, I think that's all very clear, and people are anxiously awaiting to find out what we like the most and what we like the least. So I'm going to kick us off, and hopefully we'll have some sound effects to accompany each one of these announcements.
I will do all the sound effects. So what is your? I'll do my Mel Gibson impression if it's Braveheart. I'll sing all of MIA if it's Slumdog. What is your top pick?
Coming in at number 1, my favorite movie that we've watched so far is Shakespeare in Love.
I hear you have a new play for the curtain.
What's it called?
Romeo and Ethel, the Pirate's Daughter.
Wow, really?
Yes. This was a pretty easy pick for me. I had seen the movie before and didn't know what I would think of watching it again, and I was just so charmed by it. Now, I don't quite remember where we landed in the order of watching these things, but I might have had some whiplash from watching some pretty, bad movies. Oh, wait, this was also the Burn Hollywood Burn episode, so I can't even say that that clouded my judgment a little. But anyway, we have a lot of movies to get through, so I will limit our discussion. So number one for me is Shakespeare in Love. What's your number one favorite pick, Chris?
Well, James, take a wild guess as to what my number one pick was.
Now, I'm not even going to say I hope it's not.
When I roll into the whoa, that was fun.
I rewatched The Addams Family recently, and I realized I love Barry Sonnenfeld. There's just something about the way he elevates even the most mediocre material with really funny camera work. He treats the camera the same way that the composer Julie Stein treated music in terms of comedy. There was a composer named Julie Stein. He wrote Just in Time. He wrote the musical Bells Are Ringing, but he was known for being the comedy composer guy, among other things. And Barry Sonnenfeld, without being able to write jokes, he's not a screenwriter, but his camera work is just so funny. And in every shot in Wild Wild West, when it pushes in on a character about to make a horrible decision or react to something exploding, I find it very funny. I want you to imagine a meme in your head. I want you to imagine the Drake. It's the Drake meme of him pushing away and then him saying, yes, I like that. So the first half, I want you to imagine the Spielberg look, the Spielberg push-in. Then underneath that, I want you to imagine the Barry Sonnenfeld push-in, which is the funny, cool one.
It's the distinctions between these things. That makes sense. He began his career as a cinematographer. Which Coen brothers movies did he shoot? Blood Simple. Did he also do the Hudsucker Proxy? Or had he left by that point?
He left by then. I'm 99% sure he did Raising Arizona.
Yeah, that's early.
It's like a Looney Tune. It's everything. Every shot is like a comic book. It's great. I love it.
Look, I'm not gonna hate on you for your Wild Wild West love because honestly, it was one of my favorite introductions that you did to a movie, and I didn't expect you to have some wake up, come to Jesus moment. Unfortunately, for better or for worse, this movie has been embedded in your DNA, and it was fun for me to engage with it and to have you guide me through that process. I agree with everything you said. I just think though, it as an actual movie watching experience, it is just grotesque and not fun.
Before you truly hurt my feelings,
hey,
what's your number?
I just want to say it's not that low on my list. Don't worry, okay? There were worse movie experiences I had.
That's fine. I don't want to cry on microphone. So what's your number two?
My number, and we'll take turns going first for our announcements. But my number two pick on my list of movies we've watched so far is Slumdog Millionaire.
Doctors, lawyers never get beyond 16,000 rupees. He's on 10 million. What can a slumdog possibly know?
We went on the show because I thought she'd be watching. She's my destiny.
Yeah, it's a great movie. It's a really good movie.
This was my favorite introduction that you did, Slumdog Millionaire. I think it was a tough assignment because, one, we were both, I think, pleasantly surprised how much we enjoyed this movie, but also it's a difficult one to talk about. We remember how much the world loved it when it came out, and just reflecting on it now with in terms of representation and, who is allowed to tell these stories and who should be allowed to tell these stories. I think you had a great analysis, and I was very impressed with everything that you said.
Oh, thanks. Well, look, that was honestly the movie that I've learned the most on. Mostly it was about, I'll hype her up forever and ever, Lovely and Tandem, the co-director, it was her idea to make the first half of the movie in Hindi and to put a lot of the story in the hands of the kids. And it was a risk, that could have not gone well for Danny Boyle. You know, putting that much trust into someone, that's a big move, especially when you're an established director. But
definitely a smart move on his part.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, I want to say it's almost not selfish to do that, but in a way it is kind of creatively selfish in a good way, because you're saying, I can't do this part of the movie well enough. This person can do it much better than I can. So let's give her a credit, elevate her role, and the whole movie will, be a lot better for it.
You're number two. Dying to know. If you're starting with Wild Wild West, where do we go from here?
I know. Will my broken brain carry on to number two? Let's keep this game going. Take a wild guess what my number two is.
I mean, I'm thinking like it's either The Departed or Catwoman, and I'm depressed if it's either of those choices. Wild Wild West, I understand. The Departed or Catwoman, not so much.
I know tis be Braveheart.
That they may take our lives, but they'll never take our freedom!
Whoa, really?
Yeah, man, again, big asterisk that Mel Gibson is not a great guy.
Yeah, we're past that. You can listen to the episode to know how we feel about Mel Gibson.
Right. But you I think you said it best. Every department's working at the top of its game, and it all fits together so well. It's like, this is what, because like today's movies seem to be marketed and centered towards like, this is the vision of one person that A24 has gone all in on, and what a genius mind. And this is Mel Gibson's movie, but it is also, Sophie, oh my gosh, what is her name? Sophie Marceau. She plays Princess Isabel.
Yeah, she
does a great job.
Yep.
All the actors do a great job. Whoever scouted the locations found some amazing places, costume design. It all looks great. It's all great.
One thing you said about this movie that stuck with me, which I think is very accurate, is that Mel Gibson is great at directing actors. And you can see it in like every one of the supporting characters, every background, character too. It's like he walks a fine tonal line that just, wraps you up in this world that he creates.
He does. He's really good at directing kids too. I'll repeat the same line that I did in the Braveheart episode with the little kid, young Braveheart, going up to his dad and saying, "Where are we going?" And he has like the bright Scottish eyes full of hope.
That's as much love as we're going to throw Forrest. I'm sorry. That's as much love as we're going to throw Braveheart at this time.
No, we're going to throw much more love at Forrest Gump.
Well, all right. I guess I'll go for number 3.
Hello, my name's Forrest Gump. Would you like a chocolate?
You might remember that this was one of the bigger surprises. This was a movie I've taken for granted, and it was, for me, fun to appreciate the artistry and storytelling that was going on here. And I think holds up to this day, if not even a little bit better. I do agree that this movie is a bit of a Rorschach test. Like, you can see whatever you want in it. You can find it to be the most conservative style of storytelling and like politics possible, or you can find it to be almost a sly satire on this thinking as well. But for me, I focused on the Forrest and Jenny story and quite enjoyed it and was moved by it.
Yeah, it's a really solid movie. I think the most stunning part of Forrest Gump is either Robert Zemeckis or whoever chose to produce this movie. Good job on them. You know what I mean? Like, what a great idea to take this book and like produce it in, the mid-90s at a time when like boomers are all coming, into their adulthood. And, it just seems like what a ripe story for a ripe time to like sum up, because what do people call the 90s in the United States? It's like we've reached modernism, we've reached, like a new age.
Sure.
So it seems like the perfect time to like kind of sum up the 20th century and like through the eyes of, an ordinary American, quote unquote.
Just to say it, a lot of that is just timing, because remember, the production on it was delayed because of Rain Man, because they were afraid there was too many similarities in the lead character.
You're right.
So, however, I'm sure what brought the project back to life, because Zemeckis was not the first director to be attached to it, was all the feeling that you're talking about is let's catch that cultural headwind now.
Sometimes time is like a big detractor or booster for movies. Like, imagine Lawnmower Man. If it was like delayed in development hell until today, it would be a smash blockbuster hit. Like
I did not expect Lawnmower Man to be the movie.
So have I said my number 3? Do I need to...
No. What's number 3? Hit me.
Do you want to take a guess?
I mean, there's so many movies. Okay. Once again, I feel like Catwoman and The Departed are going to be pretty high on your list, and I can't imagine anything else being higher than those movies.
No, James, it's a different movie. It's a movie about war.
Rambo, this is Murdoch. We're glad you're alive. Give us your position and we'll come to pick you up.
Murdoch. I'm coming to get you.
God, no. Wait, really?
I love Rambo First Blood Part 2. It is great.
No, Chris. Oh, I'm actually disappointed in you right now. I am so
I
disappointed.
kind of like the movie, and then you explained the symbolism to me at the end, where Rambo takes his gun and shoots up the control room, and it totally, like, it expanded in my head. I'm like, oh my gosh, this movie works on 2 different levels. So therefore, yes, my number 3 is Rambo First Blood Part 2.
That was a rough episode. Both the Razzie and the Oscar movies were tough for both of us, although apparently only one of them was tough. I'm interested to see where the other movie from that episode lands. We can discuss this later when we come back to Rambo. So let's keep moving along, because I have a controversial pick at number 4 that I think is going to get your ire. You know, this is number 4. This is pretty high up, I want to say.
It's $1 Million Baby, isn't it?
It is. No, well, we can readdress $1 Million Baby when we get to it, but we spend too much time talking about that goddamn movie. Number 4 for me is Color of Night.
Today I'd like to focus on a most enlightening and challenging topic.
Sex.
More or less.
Color of Night.
All right, sure. Yeah, I get it. I get it.
You get it? For viewers probably have already forgotten about this movie, but this is one of the more batshit insane experiences I've seen in a movie in a while. And it's not good. It does not work. It is racist, sexist, homophobic. It is everything wrong with it. And yet, I find both the filmmaking and the story itself, there's something compelling about it. And it makes sense when you think about all the people involved in making it. You have a lot of visionaries, a lot of people with very distinct voices. They didn't do a bullshit check, I think, on any of the choices they made of, is this necessary? Is this the best way to go about it? And to those who might find this movie just ridiculous from the get-go, I would challenge them to go back to their favorite Hitchcock movie and see if that actually makes sense. Does Strangers on a Train actually make sense? I think that's an overrated movie to begin with, but it's certainly enjoyable and beloved by so many people. And Color of Night kind of falls in that category for me.
Wow, now you have me thinking, what if Color of Night, because even Color of Night sounds like a 1960s title. What if you took the script and like took all the modern stuff out of it? I mean, it kind of feels old-fashioned as it is.
It is old. This is my point. Like, this is why I think it's too easy to just say it's ridiculous. No cop would ever put the psychiatrist in like this group to find out No, this is why we make movies. Yep, love Color of Night. That's why it ranks so high on this list in terms of pure enjoyability and like favorite movie. That's why it's at number 4 for me. I'm sorry. I promised I would move us along on these lists. What's next? Number 4 for you, Chris. What do you got?
It's The Departed. I love The Departed.
There was a leak from the inside. It's real.
Smell a rat.
I like The Departed too. I do. It is very enjoyable. Although some of us read into The Departed in unexpected ways and find whole new storylines that I don't think the rest of the world had even considered.
Well, I wanted to actually bring this up in new business, but I guess I'll just bring it up here. I want to start a segment called Chris's Corrections. And just let me go through this real quick. It's a place for atonement and kindness. Atonement and kindness, and
kindness.
And I just want to say that enough people who listen to this and enough of our friends told me that I was wrong. That I'd like to say that I was wrong about the plot point of Mark Wahlberg killing Matt Damon at the end of The Departed. Mark Wahlberg is not working for Jack Nicholson. He's probably working for the police. And I was wrong. So
not probably, he is. But we're doing kindness, so that it's very big of you, Chris, to admit that you were misled and misinformed and are now setting the record straight. I do want to say, listening back to that episode again, I think you almost confused yourself into landing on this plot point. Like, I don't think you entered the episode thinking that. I don't know what happened in discussing the plot, but I think you came to a realization that maybe if you weren't on the public stage of Major Motion Problems, you would have talked yourself out of. So, I'm offering you some grace.
I'd rather move on to number 5. Can I say my number 5?
Please.
Slumdog Millionaire. I guess big note. Why does the host of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire bully the main character in the bathroom so much? Like, that should not be allowed on a game show set. Like, doesn't he offer him the answer for like one of the biggest questions? But you like Slumdog too, so that's great.
I did. Yes. No, I think that's a nice place for this. Okay, my number 5, I think, is going to frustrate you. It's Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Across the multiverse, I've seen thousands of Evelyn. There's a great evil, and you may be our only chance of stopping it.
Don't make me fight you. I am really good.
Wow, I'm really good.
Sure.
Yeah, I think your criticisms of it are valid, but it works for me.
If this had come out like in the early 2000s, it probably would have been my favorite movie for decades. You know, for a long time,
Sure.
This would have been my favorite movie. However, since I am a dumb male who unfortunately watched Rick and Morty at one point in my life, I watched this and I was just like, yeah, I've seen all the variations on this story already.
You even mentioned that the Daniels were a little worried about Rick and Morty coming out, and getting popular before their movie, too. I will say about Everything Everywhere All at Once, because I'm staring at it at number 5 and being like, should it be that high? I have spoken about this movie to, people who've listened to the podcast, and it is interesting. I think most of the people I've spoken to are kind of on your side. And my father recently told me that he found the whole thing frivolous. So
there you go. Look,
he's in line with you.
At the risk of repeating ourselves on this podcast, I'll bring up the great point that you made, and I sort of also made with you during this episode. I think it was episode 2, that Everything Everywhere All at Once is sort of like your really nice but annoying friend of a friend named Rodney.
Rodney. I forgot about Rodney. Yes.
He's very into Funko Pops and this like new kind of cotton candy flavored kombucha.
Oh, no.
And he just
Ew.
and he No, but you should try it. And he's just so friendly and he's so pushy that you're like, okay, the Harley Quinn Funko Pop. Thank you so much. Thank you. This is a great housewarming gift. Oh, and cotton candy flavored kombucha. This is fantastic. And he's just so nice that you can't say no, but deep inside you're just like tired of him immediately.
He's exhausting. But then you find the emotional core of Rodney. We won't even go into that because I was also schooled by some of my coworkers on my current job. They didn't find the family story affecting at all. And they had some good viewpoints about that. But
let's continue. Well, I always said that my number 6 is like a box of chocolates.
Yay!
Because my number 6 is Showgirls. No, I'm just kidding. It's Forrest Gump. It's Forrest Gump.
I was waiting for you to do a bait and switch on me. That was well executed.
I love Forrest Gump. I love all the bad AI historical scenes that by today's standards, Google VO3 could do much better with just a simple prompt. All right, I'll stop.
I think I did call those out as like saying they haven't aged a day, and I meant that as a positive, but I understand that people think it looks bad, or I think you highlighted the main issue with those is that like the content of those scenes is so like yuck funny, like especially the Dick Cavett John Lennon one, which is just like a waste of time.
That scene should have just been Forrest staring at the camera, like as they talk about very weighty things, and then he has one like line or joke at the end, so that the audience laughs at. Like he either says something profound that he didn't mean to. That's what the scene should have been, instead of like Imagine and all the
instead of John Lennon saying the lyrics to Imagine, which timing wise, we're not saying that John Lennon wrote Imagine based off that, and then that moment ends with with Forrest saying something like a few years later, some man just shot him in the head.
It'd be great if it's John Lennon. So what if John Lennon ran off stage, picked up a phone. Ringo!
Yeah,
Ringo! You remember that lyric we're looking for? Well, listen to the... All right.
That's so funny because you think that that's like a Beatles song and it's a solo John Lennon song. And I know that you and classic rock just, you have no respect or any sort of reverence for it.
Yeah, I've humiliated myself.
Shout out Alan White played drums on Imagine. Alan White, who would later replace Bill Bruford and Yes. And because I don't have enough friends to do a prog rock podcast, that's how I'm going to get that information in here. So your number 6 was Forrest Gump. Excellent choice. My number 6 might come as a surprise. American Beauty.
Your father and I were just discussing his day at work. Why don't you tell our daughter about it, honey?
Janie, today I quit my job. And then I told my boss to go fuck himself, and then I blackmailed him for almost $60,000. Pass the asparagus.
Really? Boo.
Well, I'm already regretting it. I don't know. I was thinking about what that Sam Mendes quote that I mentioned where he's just sort of like whatever about the movie, and he comments like what a strange movie it is. It's a mix of different styles, different tones, different performance levels, and I do wonder, like, this is the publicity machine working overtime. It's like too much money and too much like studio heft. Because it became so popular and so ubiquitous, it kind of doomed itself for its legacy.
Right.
You know, curse of popularity. That's my main reflection on that. And I don't think I'm going to look closer at American Beauty, but in terms of like enjoyable experiences or like, you know, movies that I think there's something going on in, I think there's enough going on in there to warrant a discussion.
I'm really struggling to, you know, at the beginning of this, I was going to maybe give it a little introduction and say we were both camp counselors at one time in our life. And when I was a camp counselor, at the end of the day, I would have my kids go around and give their roses and thorns about their day, the things they liked and the things they didn't like. I don't think I can come up with a single rose. That's funny. I can't come up with a single.
Well done.
Can't come up with a single rose for American Beauty. I don't know. Annette Bening.
I understand. I somewhat. Oh yeah, you liked it.
She's great. Her like gripping the gun and like repeating self-help mantras to herself. That was funny. I love that. American Beauty is the greatest comedy of 1999.
A lot of people like to point out that there's other movies that also did this like suburban malaise analysis better. Like Election is one that gets brought up a lot, and I agree. Election is a better movie, and you can still watch that today and enjoy it, you know, for what it is and not with any caveats. But I don't know. I think American Beauty in terms of like its execution, like everyone's, as I like to say, all departments are you know, working at their peak. So, all right, I regret putting it at number 6, but I'm committing to it.
It's okay.
So you can, you can carry this one in your back pocket forever.
All right, so where are we at? Are we at number 7?
Number 7, I'll steamroll right into it for me. The Departed. The Departed is at number 7, and it was fun. It was fun talking about it to you, and I don't think any other Martin Scorsese movies have won Best Picture, so I guess this is the only time we'll get to talk about something he made, which doesn't seem right, or maybe it does. I don't know. He's just a movie fan at the end of the days. He likes enjoyable movies, and this is an enjoyable movie.
Do you wanna play your Major Motion Problems cheat card and switch American Beauty for The Departed right now?
Maybe they're like sort of tied at 6 and 7. I think I enjoyed them at about the same level.
If you don't switch them, I'm emailing Martin Scorsese and saying, hey Marty, do you know James ranked American Beauty with canceled actor Kevin Spacey above The Departed?
Whoa,
your Oscar-winning movie? And he'll reply, oh, really? Oh, James said that?
That was a very good Martin Scorsese.
I'm sorry.
All right, okay, Chris, what do you have at number 7 if you're so smart?
Shakespeare in Love.
Oh, okay. All right, that's fine. I know. That's fine.
You said twice, like, oh, you're going to hate this. And it's like, I don't know. I feel like I've lived with these movies that they're all like friends, but like some of them aren't, you know, some of them aren't very good people, but they're still my friends.
They're still your friends. Some of American Beauty's coming over. Oh, does he have to? Hey, come on. All right, you have to remember, he grew up in a time, okay?
Do you remember Paul Bettany's alcoholic friend in the movie Here, in the Robert Zemeckis friend movie Here? And
he
keeps talking about him like what a prick, and he drinks so much and like, oh, he's gonna drink all my alcohol. And when he comes over, he's like, hey, have another drink. Like that's the kind of friend all these movies are. Like, gosh, they're all alcoholic, awful people. But when they come over, you're like, hey, out of Africa, come here, have a drink, come on.
It's a family reunion every time. Oh, and we've been meaning to. We would like to publicly shout out the movie Here.
It's great.
It's a reunion of everyone who worked on Forrest Gump. Don Burgess, cinematographer, Eric Roth, screenplay, and Tom Hanks and Robin Wright in the lead roles. And it is a very, very cool movie that got the whole Twitter treatment for some of its odder stylistic choices that, if you watch them in the context of the movie, they work. Number 8. All right. Who's doing number 8 first?
Why don't you go? No, what's your number 8?
Maybe this will stun you. Basic Instinct 2.
Kevin was definitely breathing when we went off the road.
How do you know?
He was making me come.
What? You were having sex at 100 miles an hour?
110. I must have hit a pothole.
You don't seem too upset by what's happened.
Of course I am. I'm traumatized. Who knows if I'll ever come again.
All right, yeah, sure. All right. Yeah, I remember.
It's the same reasoning behind Color of Night, except it's just not as fun as Color of Night. This tries to be a very serious, cerebral, well thought out movie, and it just can't get there. It can't get there at the end of the day.
Yeah, I remember you liked how it looks, and I do remember liking how it looks. For social media, I went through and I took a bunch of screen grabs that I thought reflected the cinematography of the movie. And it is full of really stunning images. And it seems like none of them were done with computers. Like it was all shot, in London on location. It looks really good. Man, what was his name? Dr. Evan Towers? The name?
No. Dr. Glass.
Okay.
Glass is David Morrissey's character. Adam Towers is Hugh Dancy's character, who appears in one scene, and his name is said so many times throughout the movie that Adam Towers, and it's always Adam Towers. It's never Towers or Adam. It's always Adam Towers.
I mean, it's a nice name to say in full, but if the character is not really in the movie and people are just saying it because they have nothing else to do except walk around 2006 set decoration, then I don't know. What are we doing here?
Movie could have been worse is, I guess, my big takeaway of Basic Instinct 2. And I don't think most people have seen it and just assume it sucks. And yeah, it's not good, but it doesn't suck either. All right, what's your number 8?
Again, this list is so weird because your number 8 is Basic Instinct 2. My number 8 is Out of Africa.
Through the eyes of a woman who wouldn't be owned.
Why is your freedom more important than mine?
It isn't. And I've never interfered with your freedom.
From the spirit of a man who couldn't be tamed.
When did you learn to fly?
Yesterday.
Out of a land of beauty, mystery, and majesty. Out of Africa.
Whoa, really?
I don't know.
Oh, I expected that to go much lower for you.
Look, it is...
Have you come around on Out of Africa?
No, I feel like it's... it's right in the middle, because I feel like it is cinema nutrition, and it is... Meryl Streep is fantastic, and she can do anything.
She is great. She is so good in the movie. She is amazing. I do think, though... I like this episode because, one, I think it brought out the side of you that I know exists that maybe some people don't, a certain green screen shot. But also, my hope with this podcast is to make you honest. And at the end of the day, was this much time, energy, all of it, was it worth making this movie? And I just... When there is no greater context to this woman and, her story, I can't help but think, why did we go on this journey? Why did we go out of Africa?
Sure. No, I totally understand that point. But don't you think Hollywood needs to make one of these, once every 10 years just to prove that, we can still make giant, amazing epics?
Sure, but I hope it ends up like Reds by, Warren Beatty. That was a passion project of his. There's other examples of this type of movie that I think just work better. So anyway, now I also wish that I got wrapped up in the romance. I wish I was engrossed by the story, but I just wasn't. So, but that's really big of you to give Out of Africa its due. And you also gave us the great Sidney Pollack quote, not more than a journeyman, not quite an auteur, which if we ever make merch,
yeah,
I want to put that on a t-shirt.
An auteur, oh gosh, now I can't even say the word auteur. An auteur would go to the studio and be like, I need $1 million more to go back to Norway and film the scene. Otherwise, we're going to do it with green screen and it's unreleasable. That's what an auteur would do. A journeyman would just be like, what was stage 5 at Warner's open? Come on, throw on a parka. Let's go shoot this real quick.
Let's do plates. Let's just do plates.
Let's just hammer this out.
Are you sure? Because, we can fly them business class. It will be a very easy shoot. It's one afternoon. The crew is already there. Second unit is already there. We can pick up these shots.
No, if I push lunch with David Geffen again, he'll get mad at me. So no, let's just get this in real quick. All right, Out of Africa. So we're getting Out of Africa and we're going into number 9. And number 9 for you is?
Wild Wild West.
Okay.
That's pretty high. That's like at the midpoint. Out of 18 movies, did you... Oh, are you going to cry?
No, I'm not going to cry.
Everything I appreciate it for all the reasons you said, but honestly, the start is so bad to this that it never fully recovers. And I don't know. It's a tough movie to look at.
I don't think you understood the movie. I think that's what it is.
I know. All right, what's your number 9?
I don't want to say my number 9 now. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, say your number 9.
It's Showgirls. I love it.
The passion is real.
I could fall in love with you.
The desire is intense.
You can't touch me, but I can touch you. I'd really love to touch you.
And the show is about to begin.
That's not the worst placement for it. I'm still mad about Rambo being so high on the list for you. But...
Look, big footnote for all these. My brain is broken. But recently,
I don't know. The public agrees with you about Showgirls. It's some sort of camp classic now.
I saw a reel on Instagram. I forgot who it was, but it was 2 social media people just basically redoing the scene where they talk about eating dog food and brown rice and vegetables. And I used to eat dog food when I was a kid. Oh, I love puppy chow or whatever they say. It is kind of a funny scene.
There are moments where the movie actually works, where I like to talk about the opening scene where she's hitchhiking into Vegas. It's very funny and very quick and awesome. But then it just becomes, I don't know, it becomes so boring and it doesn't feel real. It never feels compelling. And, they like this, they like the striptease scene and they like Kyle MacLachlan, gooning over, over our lead there.
Okay. So what did you goon over for number 10?
I gooned for Mel in Braveheart. I admire the directing, the scope, but I honestly, I don't remember large portions of this movie. So ultimately not that memorable for me, but, appreciated it while I watched it, and it was fun watching it 2 decades after everyone else in our lives saw it.
Yep.
So
yeah.
There you go. You can learn something new.
And you compared this to which Kenneth Branagh movie? I have not seen it.
Oh, Henry V. The big speech, that he gives to rally the troops is like the Shakespeare Henry V that Branagh does. And it feels, it's almost done in the exact same way. It's out in the mud. And anyway, both of those filmmakers like to lean into the theatrical.
Yep.
To say the least.
You are the Kenneth Branagh expert, except you have one big gaping hole in your Kenneth Branagh knowledge, and you know what that is?
Kenneth Branagh.
Yeah, we discussed it, and I said he did a good job in the movie, but it's just crazy that, everyone's mind was like, yeah, this makes sense. Yes, let's do this. Yes. And Branagh was like, sure, I'll do a big Barry Sonnenfeld movie. It'll be just like Men in Black. I need to play one of these weird characters anyway. I give him a lot of credit for being game and throwing himself into the role. But, Yikes.
It's kind of cool that Vincent D'Onofrio was the bad guy in the first Men in Black. Like, just like all these interesting villains in Barry Sonnenfeld. Anyway, so my number 10 is our friend Rodney, Everything, Everywhere, All at Once.
Okay, that's higher than I thought it was going to be. I thought you were going to really push it down there. Like, I'm surprised that, I'm going to be honest, I'm surprised that both Out of Africa and that aren't lower.
It gets points for being Rodney and just trying to be likable and being a nice person, but too much for me. Too much. All right. Braveheart was my number 10, so we're on to number 11 then. That's right. So what is your number 11?
Catwoman.
Steve says she jumps around like a cat. What should we call her?
You're kidding me.
No, because maybe it was just the experience of it being our first episode that we did and the other movie in our first episode, but and I said this at the time, I was not really bored by this movie. Like, it made weird decisions. It occasionally found a tone that worked, and it legitimately made me laugh a few times, but it fails as a comic book movie. It fails as just even a superhero movie. It fails on like so many other things, but it's not good, and it probably deserves all the, like, you know, the quote unquote hate that it got. But it's also, I have seen worse comic book movies.
Guess what my number 11 is?
Catwoman. You heard of her?
Oh, yeah. Hot. Black leather. Whip.
Hey, yeah, I think that's a good spot for it.
And I could see why Warner Brothers, I assume, like, was trying to invest in Halle Berry and making this a hit. Like, it makes sense. It just didn't work out, I guess.
Just the product of a studio not knowing what to do. And Pitoff, God bless him, seems like a cool guy. You can find interviews with him on YouTube. He was a visual first guy, and at the time, he knew his visuals, especially his digital establishing shots.
Yes, I remember that. I also remember Alex Borstein understood the assignment. Like, she...
Yes. Oh, she nailed it. She was great. She was so fun. Like I said, there are moments of, like, actual charm to this movie that I don't think people recognize or you know, they claim to have seen this, but haven't actually seen it because it's crazier than most people.
It reminds me a lot of, you know, Kinka Usher, the director of Mystery Men. He was the guy who did all the Taco Bell commercials, with the little chihuahua. And you can see that style in Mystery Men. But apparently he did one feature film and he was like, okay, I'm out, never again. Back to commercials. Kind of.
I mean, that's literally what Pitoff said too. It's like he didn't want to work in America again and he just likes doing visual effects.
But the cool thing is you get one great movie out of these people that is just like, wow.
One great movie, yeah. Mystery. Someday we'll have a Mystery Men conversation, I'm sure. But
we will.
Okay.
Number 12. My number 12 is $1 Million Baby.
Hi, I'm Frankie Dunn. I met you back out in Missouri.
Where's my little girl?
Well, don't you think you ought to go back to the hotel and change? You just know you've been here a week visiting Woody and Mickey. Look, there's some rides you missed. Why don't you just go on back and I'll tell you couldn't make it.
You're suggesting I'm not a good mother? Miriam can't go nowhere. We could have taken her to Disneyland. We would have.
Interesting.
It's competent. It's okay. I forgot the name of the kind of canceled writer, Paul Haggis, who wrote it. Seems like every movie we talk about on this list, at least a few people who have been canceled have worked on them, and it just makes it very depressing and hard to talk about some of these. But what did you think of $1 Million Baby?
I think we were honest about it. We did say things we liked about it. I just don't think, at the end of the day, this earns the moral argument that it's making. That this is some sort of redemption piece for the Clint Eastwood character, and by making that final choice to help Hilary Swank end her life, that he gets some sort of a release from this dark past that he's been running from. I don't think the math is there for this movie to add up to that answer, and I guarantee most people do not remember that is what the movie is actually about.
Yeah, it's I wonder if when Oscar voters are like casting their ballots, do they take into consideration like, oh, the production went really smoothly and they came in under budget? Because maybe Maybe that's why everyone voted for this. They're like, mediocre movie, but then like included with the DVD that you get, the mailer, it's also like, oh wow, they came in under budget, and everyone, everyone was very happy.
They got the line budget, really, like the production.
The craft services were all like on time and very fresh.
Yeah, let's not clown on it. Let's just.
I'm not clowning.
You're not clowning. You're being honest. Well, I think you gave it a respectable showing on this list.
What is your respectable showing for number 12?
Number 12, a similar movie, Blonde.
Marilyn Monroe. Marilyn Monroe. Marilyn Monroe. Marilyn Monroe only exists on the screen.
I think it's better than its reputation. So a lot of the reason that I come out swinging for Blonde is like, oh, come on, Razzies. Oh, come on. Get over yourselves. This is one of the many get over yourselves moments for me. And
I think, wasn't this the only movie so far where you personally insisted that Blonde go first over the best?
Yes, I did, because I knew the conversation would be boring mostly. But yeah, I wanted to get the serious stuff out of the way first.
We almost came to blows over that. Like, it was only our second episode, and you were like, no, Blonde needs to go first. And I said, James, why? We haven't even like hammered out the format. And you said, I will hit you if I don't talk about Blonde first. And I said, okay, if you like Blonde so much.
Even though this podcast is recorded with you in Michigan and me in Los Angeles, mostly, except
now it is for safety reasons. After you threatened to hurt me over your love of Blonde.
Do you have anything to say about Blonde?
It's fakey, old-fashioned. Some of when they were filming on the sets, like on the set of 7 Year Itch, and there's like all these photographers like flooding around Marilyn Monroe. I don't know. It felt like, okay, is this a fantasy sequence? Because if so, that makes sense. But the way they're like setting it up and filming it, it's almost like they're trying to say like on the set of this Billy Wilder film, there were all these photographers. Like it felt like what a 12-year-old thinks Hollywood is like.
You're overthinking it. That very clearly was like a surreal moment. Anyway, let's
all
not.
Right. Again, like the phone call that happened. Happened last time we talked about Blonde.
You and your phone call. The hyperfixation on certain elements with you, I have to remember not to get too hot under the collar about.
Oh boy. All right. My number 13 will make you feel better because it's Basic Instinct 2.
Yeah, you're probably right. I like that movie more than you. I like Blonde more than you, but I don't disagree with the analysis either.
We can't raise our voices to each other at this point in the list because it's like we're just like we emptied a big thing of garbage out on the kitchen floor and we're like picking up a banana peel and we're saying like, this banana peel is better than your rotten egg. We're just like ranking garbage.
Yes,
so,
it should be said this is like the break point for me. Although number 13 for me is $1 Million Baby, so close to where you put it, and said. Now, from the rest of this list, though, we are just ranking. Well, people might be surprised, from me anyway, because I'm such a sophisticated mind. But yes, I do feel like we've reached the bottom of the bottom at this point, mostly. So
I've forgotten where we are. Basic Instinct 2, number 13.
Number 13, $1 Million Baby for me. I think we've said everything that we need to say about that. Oh, I did want to bring up with $1 Million Baby, that being our first episode, and you apparently being a stickler for format. You start that episode by saying like, okay, maybe we'll do a segment every time called like Kris's time codes, or maybe we'll do a segment every time about what Kris learned. We have not done either of those segments since the first episode.
I do them. You cut them out because they're too good.
Too good. That's.
Kris's time codes is one of my favorite recurring segments.
But, well, it's welcome to make a return anytime you actually want to do it.
Kris's corrections, a place for atonement and kindness. That will return.
I'm sure it will. All right, let's keep moving. Number 14 for me. This is where I placed Out of Africa. I wanted to make a statement. Out of Africa is boring.
Yeah, it is.
It's boring, and I can't believe you ranked it higher.
I don't know. They spent so much time on it. It's like when Meryl Streep does a really great, finger painting in class, and you're like, "Oh, good job, Meryl Streep. You spent so much time on this." Let's put it right up on the fridge.
She does elevate everything she's in, including this. Yeah, no, just didn't work for me. What's your number 14?
Number 14 was Blonde.
Okay, yeah, that's
Again,
about right. That's about right. Yeah.
Just shifting around garbage, seeing which garbage
Well,
smells.
I would say that Blonde is not garbage. That would be my takeaway on that. But I think you have the same boring reaction to that. All right, now we are truly in the garbage part.
Yeah, there's two movies neither one of us has mentioned.
Well, I wonder what those are. Okay, but my number 15, here, let's do 15 and 16 together for me. So 15 for me is Rambo First Blood Part 2. I don't think it's aged well. I don't think it's nearly as like guilty pleasure fun as you seem to think it is. And like all the neutrality bullshit is just like bad taste in my mouth. And then 16 is Showgirls. Like Paul Verhoeven cannot make an uncompelling movie. He's just one of those directors that is always able to hold your attention, but like it's gross. It's so gross. And like, I just wish the story was better. I wish it was as good as the few scenes that actually work are. So that's my 15 and 16. What's your 15 and 16?
Well, I'll say it again. Someone needs to just take the rights to Showgirls and give it to Diablo Cody and tell her to do something cool with it. But my 15 and 16 are 15 is The Color of Night or Color of Night.
Just Color of Night. Please get it right.
It is The Color of Night of the night, and 16 is The Love Guru.
How do you do? Shrimp?
What'd you call me?
I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name. You are a midget.
Whoa, interesting.
What do you mean interesting? Yours has got to be 17 or 18, right?
Right, but I'm trying to think like what could be lower than The Love Guru. Anyway, not to gild my lily too much here. Man, Color of Night, I had it, just to be clear, number 4, and you have it at number 16 or 15?
15.
15. Wow. All right. So you don't find much to love there. All right, let's talk. Well, maybe we should keep going because
Well, now that you brought up the whole Hitchcock thing, I could see I kind of want to like take the script for Color of Night, like throw it in a time machine, and then send it back to Alfred Hitchcock's apartment, and then have him read it, be like, "Oh, what is this?" And like the whole sequence at the end, at the top of the tower at the fabrication plant, that is such a Hitchcock,
of course.
thing.
To be clear, though, Hitch, because he was a close personal friend, I can call him that. Towards the end of his career, like he was trying to make what was essentially porn. Like if you read interviews with him and like look at the projects he was trying to do, like he wanted to have all this crazy shit in his movies. Just other people, like, screenwriters he worked with, producers he worked with, just general, social mores at the time. Like, it's almost a happy accident that that he's as sophisticated, as he ended up being. So, there's another world where if he had kept going, Color of Night would have been on his resume.
Wow, you see old videos, like promotional videos of Universal Studios Hollywood, and he's in every single one of them saying like, "Come visit Universal." It's like, wow, are you okay, man? Like, do you really... You're next to the Jaws animatronic saying like, "Come for two
he was a
for
person,
one."
and that's not a career slump for him. That's just him being, like he was the face of his product. What was Alfred Hitchcock Presents? That was his TV show, like the Twilight Zone style stories. Yeah.
You just think at that point in your life you're not, hawking theme parks.
Well,
anyway.
But again, think about like Walt Disney, like hawking his theme park. I think he was trying to become synonymous with all things movies, and he succeeded in a way that most people do not.
He sure did. And we all love Walt Disney, and we all love number 17. What was your number 17?
My number 17 was an Alan Smithy film, Burn, Hollywood, Burn.
This is the movie Hollywood doesn't want you to see. Ryan O'Neal, Eric Idle, Richard Jenney, Coolio, Chuck D, Sylvester Stallone.
I'm doing this for free, so don't break my...
You have to edit that out. Whoopi Goldberg.
What are you, God?
Jackie Chan. Burn, Hollywood, Burn.
Wow, you didn't put that you put The Love Guru as number 18.
And I guess we'll just jump right into it. So this was tough for me. This was the tough decision. And yes, Alan Smithy film should not exist. Is it Burn, Hollywood, Burn, an Alan Smithy film, or is it an Alan Smithy film, Burn, Hollywood, Burn?
Pretty sure it's an Alan Smithy film,
Okay. This movie should not exist. Everyone who is involved in it should be ashamed of themselves. It's terrible. It's one big in-joke that isn't even that funny, but it is an idea. As you pointed out, the idea that like a director would make off with the negative of his own film to prevent it being released, that is an idea for a movie. The Love Guru, in my opinion, is devoid of ideas. Like, absolutely, it's completely irrelevant for this character to be in this story.
Take a look at this. The Toronto Maple Leafs will pay you $2 million if you can get Darren Roanoke back with his wife in time to win the Stanley Cup.
The second best guru in the world is coming to town.
That's my very snooty, probably
overthinking
it, reasoning behind it. Now, now I'm going to go back. In terms of a movie, I actually would, like, if gun to my head, I have to watch one of these movies. Actually, you know what? I would rather watch an Alan Smithy film again because it is that bizarre that it even exists. The Love Guru, it's not bizarre it exists. It's just depressing that it does.
I would put on Burn Hollywood Burn just because it's easier to watch in the background. You know what I mean? Like, it's probably easier to...
Yeah.
Yeah, Love Guru is probably a lot of shouting and colors and just swear words. And it's like, oh, I don't want that in the background. For me, 17 was American Beauty.
Wow.
Suburban malaise does not appeal to me.
Whose car is that out front?
Mine. 1970 Pontiac Firebird, the car I've always wanted, and now I have it. I rule.
And 18 is Burn Hollywood Burn.
Okay.
Because I've decided internally in my own head, it's not a movie, it's a filmed screenplay, which is like the worst insult you could give any movie.
I mean, it's irrelevant. All the camera setups are irrelevant. Like there are very few sequences that are like, created through cutting and editing. You know what I mean? Like it's a table read with a camera pointed at it.
It's real bad. Again, we're sorting garbage around on the floor with these last two. So like the way I would look at it is like which garbage is like organic and good for compost and which garbage is just like plastic wrapping from something. You know what I mean? And in terms of these two, I would say that at least the Love Guru is like organic garbage. You know what I mean? Like it probably gave more jobs to people in Hollywood. It probably provided, more income to people who work in the industry. Burn Hollywood Burn is just like a favor that was pushed through the system for some reason until it finally got made. It's bad.
It is weird to think that Burn Hollywood Burn is not like an indie movie. Like it was a movie that, as you said, even Spielberg, like I doubt that's even true, but like even Spielberg was interested, which just lets you know that everyone who works in Hollywood needs to like literally get another hobby and do something else. Because if you thought that this movie was going to appeal to anyone, you're insane.
Yep, it should have stayed the last cool, unproduced screenplay of Joe Asterhouse. What a way to go out.
Yeah.
That would be so cool.
Yeah. And we would have, and honestly, we would read it and be like, yeah, this is kind of funny. But like, I think neither one of us would have been like, let's pull the trigger and make it happen.
Right. Right now I'm reading Battle for Brazil, which includes the original screenplay of Terry Gilliam's Brazil. And again, what a great book, Burn Hollywood Burn would have made with like Joe Asterhouse writing a little intro about how this came about and his history in the industry. But nope, he decided to actually make it.
Let's be 100% clear. Brazil is an awesome movie.
It is,
and,
but wow.
And also, by the way, into it, like he had support for it, right? It's only like midway through production and like after the cut was assembled that the studio started getting cold feet, right?
Well, if we do a Major Motion Problems book club, I want to cover that and High Concept. The things I'm learning about Brazil are just like crazy. This book is so good. Battle for Brazil. I believe the last name of the author is Matthews, but it is so good. And basically, you just said it had some support in the beginning. Not really. Like the whole thing just kind of like stumbled its way into production, mostly because Universal didn't have a lot in the early 1980s, and they were like looking. Yeah, it's fascinating. And anyway,
shout out Tom Stoppard.
Man, all the stuff about Tom Stoppard is so interesting. You think that he was on the same page as Terry Gilliam? They were not.
Yeah.
They were not. Anyway, That's how much I love Burn Hollywood Burn, is that I'll talk about Brazil over Burn Hollywood Burn.
It's not a difficult choice to make for those who haven't seen Brazil. It's a wonderful film, and few films are as imaginative and anyway, I don't want to become a Brazil stan either. I like it quite a bit, though. All right, hey, those are our lists. That was fun. Did you have fun?
Yeah, I did. I wish you would put Wild Wild West higher.
Where did I put it? I put Wild Wild West above Braveheart, above like so many like legitimately okay. Well, maybe not. I don't know. It is towards the bottom. I did put Basic Instinct 2 above Wild Wild West.
It's the action comedy blockbuster of 1999. Why would you put it so low?
I know. Well, it was illuminating to hear you talk about it after hearing you talk about it for the entirety of our friendship, but now to have all your thoughts synthesized into one digestible chunk is very helpful to me.
We have a couple movies that we've been talking about our entire lives that we have to cover at some point, like Shock Treatment, but this is one that is very personal to me, and thank you for watching it and tolerating it. I know... I realized I have a broken...
It was not tolerating. It was not tolerating. It was sort of like jaw drop. I can't believe this actually came out, but, you know, I have to be honest about whether I found it entertaining or not, and for the most part, I did not.
Do you remember when Dr. Arliss Lovelace, the villain in this 4-quadrant family summer comedy, says, "Oh no, don't worry, I will have sex with that woman because I am so good with mechanology and machinery," basically implying that he's made himself, mechanical genitalia? Is that what he's implying? Remember
Kris,
that from Wild Wild West?
You're the expert on Wild Wild West. You tell me, did the action figure come with that? Like, was that a special feature if you pull this lever? Last thing on Wild Wild West, very annoyed that there's a character named Arliss and Artemis. They're too close together. I realized that when we were talking about it. That's very annoying.
That is one of my big pet peeves, and naming characters too similarly. And they changed the name from the TV show, too, which is even worse.
Now the Wild Wild West fans they don't even know what they're looking at.
One day I'm going to find fans of the TV show. I'm sure... like, they've got to be out there, because the TV show is so good. And if I ever become, like, a successful big TV producer in Hollywood, I'm going to bring back the TV show and make it good and show people that this is a property worth investing in.
I hope that was actualized in this moment on this episode of Major Motion Problems. Thank you, Kris. Shall we move into the future?
Oh, yeah, sure. Let's move into the future.
That wraps up our best worst so far. Hey!
Yay!
10 episodes, Kris. I'm proud of us.
Yay!
And across those 10 episodes, we've ended every one of them by randomly selecting our next set of best worst pictures. Kris and I are on the cutting edge of artificial intelligence, so let me just ask ChatGPT to pick a year between 1980 and the present. All right, it has picked the year 2007, which we have not covered.
No, gosh, I don't even know what 2007 was.
Well, do you want to re-roll, or do we want to commit?
You always ask me, do you want to re-roll, or do you want to commit?
Unfortunately, I looked at the list to find out whether we had done it or not. So I know what the movies are, so you need to tell me.
Since I switched up last time with Wild Wild West and American Beauty, let's commit this time.
All right. This will be an interesting one. At the 80th Academy Awards, Best Picture was No Country for Old Men.
Oh.
Those old collaborators of Barry Sonnenfeld, the Coen brothers.
That's right.
Going on with No Country for Old Men. What a time. That was also There Will Be Blood year. I remember because those two neck and neck. So at the 28th Razzies, I remember this movie coming out, and I remember the title. I haven't seen it, though. At the 28th Razzies, the worst picture was I Know Who Killed Me, which, if I'm not mistaken, is like a Lindsay Lohan horror movie, and sadly was like the last big public thing she did before she had some personal struggles and sort of stepped out of the limelight. So I think that's the basic story around that. I have not seen this movie, though, so I can't comment on it beyond that.
Well, as always, we'll give the movie the proper context it needs, and this industry is not always the nicest, and that you do need to kind of take all the production struggles and, the struggles in people's lives into account when evaluating a film of possibly substandard quality.
What a mature thing to say, Chris. All this is to say what?
All this is to say is the Love Bug movie that she did, garbage. Worst Love Bug movie. No, I'm just kidding.
That's Herbie Fully Loaded. I'll let
she
you know.
ruined the Herbie movies. Ruined. No, I'm just kidding. I'm so kidding.
All right, let's ask ChatGPT again to assign who covers what movie. Well. Kris gets No Country for Old Men. James gets I Know Who Killed Me. So I will learn all about Lindsay Lohan and maybe even find out who killed her.
For research, can I get one of those like cattle killer things that it's
the pressurized shooter bullet thing? Yes.
What if next time you see me, I just have the same haircut and I'm like carrying
I was gonna say, we hop on Zoom and you've got the haircut and oh god, there's been a string of murders in Livonia, Michigan at gas stations. It's just a guy walking around flipping a coin.
And, when we pick the next movie, no ChatGPT, James. Flip a coin.
Call him. You just call him.
Call him. All right. Well.
Wow. I remember that. I remembered all that stuff. I guess it must have been a pretty good movie. Maybe it will be. Maybe it won't be. We'll find out. On the next episode.
I just interrupted you as you were trying to wrap it up so nicely. You will find out on the next episode.
No. What were you gonna say? Just say it. What were you gonna say?
I'm just saying. I just wanted to say you'll find out on the next episode of Major Motion Problems.
Thank you, Forrest Kris.
I'm so sorry. All right, is that okay? Can we end it there?
Yep, that's how we'll end it. All right, great work.